Hello, hello, hello to everybody. For those of you just joining, please make sure you're on mute.
Great number. Don't want to have that.
Oh, of course not.
We're going to have to try and keep the room as quiet as we can today. So please try and remember to be on mute unless you are speaking. I still hear a few people. Okay. Wow, fantastic. We are getting an amazing turnout, even on a Saturday. It's harder to get people to actually show up on Saturdays. I'm now learning. Even though we had our biggest registration ever, I think we're gonna maybe move our life science event to a Wednesday at some point in the near future, because I think it's a little easier to get everybody to attend. But we did break our record for a community. We had actually 520 people who registered, so that was the all-time biggest. I had to contact Zoom earlier today just to find out if that was going to work. My account allows for 500 maximum. We won't have as many people show up live at the event as register. Many of them, I've come to learn, like to watch the replay on YouTube and be notified of that. But still register. Nevertheless, I think we're going to have a very large and strong audience today. I appreciate all of you for coming. This has been so much fun for me to be able to host these events and have all of you amazingly smart people here. Again, for everybody who's just arriving, the mute button is really critical to what we do. Everybody needs to be on mute the entire event unless you are speaking. Go ahead, Luke. I heard your voice in the background.
Yeah, I want to ask, because John Carrieri wanted to jump in. He said that he cannot sign up, and I wanted to ask if we have space for him.
I don't know how to invite anybody else in. I apologize to those who can't get in. Yeah, I just don't know how, because we maxed out on all of our registrations on Zoom. Yeah. You can give him your own Zoom invite, and he can come in as you and then change his name. That might be a sort of a shortcut to allow others to come in. All right, so I have a few announcements, and then we'll start to have people pitch here shortly. This is a very special event for me, just because this hit a big milestone. We've actually had a lot of milestones in the last week, and when you're building a community like this, it's great to see milestones, I have to say, because I'm personally investing in this entire thing. I've been advertising to build our audience to be even bigger than we've had in the past, and to grow our community. I'm doing a lot of things that are expensive, but I know inherently are what we need as a community so that we can start to thrive and the right people can connect with the right people. So we did achieve the 500 registration. Besides that, on Friday morning, I announced that we had another important milestone where 4,000 people are now following the Venture Starters Community LinkedIn page. And I just checked a few minutes before we started, and amazingly, another 120 people have signed up to follow that page. So we're at 4,100 plus now. We're growing faster than we ever have. The last 30 days have been mind-blowing. The last time we did a life science event, which was around 30 days ago, we only had 2,800 followers to the page, and now we're 4,100, just to give you an idea. We also blew through another milestone earlier in the week. We hit 1,500 people who have signed up for our newsletter. Last I looked, we were actually at 1,600 and something, heading to 1,700. So again, all these numbers are going to work to our collective advantage, because the whole idea here is to connect with the right people. The more people we have participating, the greater the chances are that you will find who you need within our community to help you get either unstuck or accelerate what you're doing. We also passed the 75,000 views mark for our Venture Starters YouTube channel. The last two events, we had over 7,000 people watch each of those events. That was the most that we've had. A lot of that is attributed to the fact that I am actually marketing and promoting our channel, so I am getting more and more people to look. But nevertheless, the numbers are just beautiful. All of these milestones, to me, are wonderful news considering how new of a community we are. I've spoken to a few other people who put together communities, and we are growing really fast in comparison to how other communities have grown. My goal is to create a place where magic happens. And that magic is connecting people to the people that they need. Networking is one of the greatest tools for success. I learned that a long time ago. Many of you already know that inherently, but let me tell you, if you can find a person who can open up a door for you, that door might be golden, magical. It might save you a year of struggle as you get these startups together. We also have a lot of fantastic people joining in today who would like to join startups and bring their family and friends networks and their wisdom and know-how to these events. So please, look for people that you can connect with in our event. We are the venture starters because we're the people that start ventures. So whatever you do that involves starting the venture, whether you're a founder, you're an investor, whether you're a service provider, maybe you are a mentor, you might be somebody with just inherent wisdom and knowledge that you can pass along, somebody who can join a board of a startup and an early stage company, you are all welcome. My name, by the way, is Mark November. For those of you, some of you who don't know me, who are attending for the very first time, I accelerate companies by getting them connected. I've been doing that for years. I have a track record of finding the right people to make companies work, finding the right people to make money flow into those companies. So I'm taking that same type of an idea of what I've done for my own companies and companies I'm co-founder of, and I'm trying to spread that among all of you who are participants in this Venture Starters community. For those of you that would like a more fast track approach to finding who you need, I do have a different model that's not this community, but it does cost money because we literally buy ads through my network on LinkedIn to find the right people ASAP who you should be talking to get your startups moving forward, regardless of whether it's for raising money or you needing somebody who knows the buyers that you need or wisdom that you need or technical knowledge or maybe some help. I have a method that I've been deploying for a long time, and it's helped me raise tens of millions of dollars, and it keeps working. And if you're interested in a more targeted approach than our community events, you can find my calendar at the bottom of the venturestarters.com website, and you can sign up for a Zoom meeting with me personally one-on-one. We can talk about your venture and how I might suggest an alternative to this community and all the other communities that are popping up where you're literally, in a beauty pageant, which is still a beautiful thing if the right people are in the room and we have some of the right people. But nevertheless, if you'd like to step out of the beauty pageant show and have something a little bit more targeted, reach out to me. I can tell you exactly how it's possible to find the right people more quickly, more efficiently. Lastly, please go to our website, venturestarters.com, for registering and for checking out the upcoming events. I want to thank everybody for attending. Please keep coming back and getting to know everybody. Networking can lead to amazing success, but you can't always network who you need to know just at one event. It sometimes takes more time. On the other hand, if you'd like a more accelerated way to meeting the right people, get on my calendar and I'll show you another way, but it does involve advertising, so it does involve a cost. Happy to share that with you if you want. And my calendar is at the bottom of the venturestarters.com webpage. So let's get started. Before I start with those that are in the queue, I want to first bring up Igor from Phythera, because I sit on the board of directors of this company, and what he's doing is very, very important for the life sciences community. He's going to be up first, and I don't know if Jason from Assured Pediatrics has arrived in the room yet or not, but Jason will be up second if he's here, and then after that, we'll go to Matthew, who's the first in the queue. Those of you who don't know how to see the queue of those that are about to pitch, you can see it in the participant page. Or if you switch your screen to gallery view, you might be able to see it the way I see it with all the hand raises on my screen. So Igor, are you available to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. I've been enjoying Aurora Borealis on David's screen for a long time. So when you're talking to us, it's awesome view. Okay, I'm Igor Nasonkin. I represent Phythera Therapeutics, a company started in March 2021. Headquarters in Irvine, California. We have a research facility in San Leandro, California. I'm former director of R&D of clinical stage company. And before that, I was trained at MIT, Johns Hopkins with a PhD at University of Michigan. So our company is focused on botanical drugs and bringing them to IND and a clinical trial. And the first drug that we have in the pipeline is called Medphyte. I'm not going to divulge the source of the plant, but I can only say that the drug has been taken by more than 600 people in a different country. So we have inventor physician in this country, Central Asian country, working with us. He's on our website. Website is called phytheratx.com. Phythera Therapeutics. Phyto stands for plants. So we license this drug and delivery of this drug to patients from this physician, and we're trying to bring it to IND and clinical trial in the US. Interestingly, what we learned is that the path to IND and clinical trial for botanicals is different than for biologics. It's regulated by CDER, not by CBER, so the path is much shorter, and they give a lot of slack for prior history of use, so which we have plenty. So we working with a regulatory consultant who already brought several botanical drugs to IND and clinical trials. So we're confident that from now and say from 2 years from now, we'll be able to have our first IND and initiate clinical trial here in the US. So our ask is $5 million. We're raising seed funding. We raised 100K so far. We need $5 million to bring it to IND and phase 1 clinical trial. And after that, we plan to partner with a big pharma company, or we license this drug, whatever. Right now, it doesn't. Not completely sure, but most likely path is to work closely with big pharma companies such as Bayer. They're in this niche botanical drugs. There are a few other big companies, but Bayer is one of our primary targets. So for phase 1, we're going to do it for show safety and efficacy. We focus on safety. We know that safety is already there because in another country, this drug shows safety. And then for phase 2A, 2B, we're going to partner with a big pharma. We're already building those bridges. So as I said, history of prior use is very important. So the drug has been taken by more than 600 patients. And critically, we validated the efficacy and safety of this drug in our R&D facility in San Leandro. We tested this drug first in a 2D human metastatic cancer models. We tested 6 or 7. All of them are killed by this drug, and normal cells, which are non-cancerous cells, are not killed by the drug. So we also tested this drug in a semi-in vivo conditions, which is called CAM model, chorioallantoic membrane assay, where you put human cancer cells under the eggshell of a fertilized egg, and then either treat it with control vehicle or with a drug. And we showed that the drug is very efficacious at killing cancer cells, while in the controls, the human metastatic cancer cells divide uncontrollably and basically kill the egg. So everything checks. So our regulatory consultant told us that we'll be able to bring it to IND, and having IND for a startup company is a really big deal. So this is our pitch. So we have very efficacious and safe drug already tested in another country in people. We want to bring it to IND and clinical trial using a US FDA standards. So we're confident the drug will work. We asking $5 million. We raised $100,000. It's not enough, but it got us going. I will share our contact in the chat, and I'm happy to take any questions.
So the reason I joined the board of this company is this is the first time that I have actually been on a company board where humans have already tried something. And in this case, it's a cure for cancer, all types of cancers in another country. And now we still have to go through all of the traditional pathways to FDA approval before we can bring this forward. But it's very rare to already have something that was tested on 600 humans. And now we're basically reverse engineering it and going to make it, FDA approved and available eventually to everybody. And I'm really excited to be working with Igor. He is amazing. Anybody who is interested in trying to solve cancer, please reach out to Igor in the chat. We're going to move on next. I don't know, Jason, are you here in the room with Assured Pediatrics? Jason Merrick?
Yeah, I'm right here, Mark.
Perfect. You're up next.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet everybody here. I can't see you all, but nice to meet you anyways. My name is Jason Merrick, and I'm president and CEO of Assured Pediatrics. I'm also a registered nurse, former paramedic, and father as well. So with Assured Pediatrics, we are a 24/7 live video pediatric healthcare advice line for parents who have a child in distress. They're not ready to call 911, but they're seeking advice right now. It takes time to book a primary care appointment, whether virtual or in person. And these are some interesting statistics. 53% of private side workers in the US are in high deductible healthcare plans. These are healthcare plans that you're paying out of pocket until you hit on average of $2,700. That's 53% of our workforce that's not working for the government. And the Kaiser Family Foundation came out with a study later this year that said millions of Americans, a majority of Americans in the US, will have their premiums raised next year up to 50%. That's nearly half of what you're paying today will be added next year. It's a huge number, and it's going to be a shock next year. So all these stats, what they do is they directly affect our working parents. The American Academy of Pediatrics last year came out with a study that said parents in these high deductible healthcare plans just seek out less care for their children, not because they wanted to, but because of the means available to them. They couldn't make the appointments or they couldn't afford the copays. Here at Assured Pediatrics, we don't want any parents to have less care for their children. There is a better way to affect the resources and the way they're delivered. We'd love to tell you more, and remember, Assured Pediatrics, we're always here for you.
Thank you, Jason. I sit on the board of directors of this company too, and we're going to make some noise. And if you're interested in telehealth and the pediatric market, please reach out to Jason. And if Jason has to leave because he's on a tight schedule today, reach out to me or one of my assistants, and I'll make sure you and Jason get hooked up. All right, we're going to move on to my regular list now of those that had raised hands. Matthew Mace, you're up next.
Great, thanks very much, Mark. Appreciate it. My name is Matthew. I'm the director of sales here at Acarai. Acarai is a non-invasive hardware device looking at heart failure monitoring. We've already validated our product in 250 patients in Sweden. And what we're aiming to do at the beginning of this coming year is to bring ourselves to the US to raise capital and also kick off an up to 1,000 patient study in the US in the 4 clinical sites that we already have. We're raising capital to fund those clinical trials and take us all the way to FDA approval. But we've already de-risked the device. We know the device works, we know it's validated, and we have 6 patent families already granted against the protection of the device. It'd be great to meet people in the chat, network as we grow our network, and we look towards market launch in 2024. Thanks very much.
That was an excellent short pitch. I hope everybody took notice of that. By the way, sometimes if there's somebody in the audience that would like to ask a question, it needs to be a somewhat simple, not long-winded question after our founder's pitch. I welcome you to do that. You can open your mic and you can ask a quick question. It also gives a few minutes or a moment for those that are interested after hearing somebody pitch to go into the chat and reach out to them and then not miss all of the information of the next person who's chatting. So I should have mentioned that earlier, apologize. But does anybody have any quick questions of Matthew?
What's your schedule? This is Mina, Mark, Mina Abbott here. What's your schedule look like in terms of 510 clearance, Matthew?
It's actually de novo, so we've just submitted our breakthrough device designation request, which we're pretty sure we're going to receive because there's other people in the area with similar requests, and then a de novo clearance. Our studies will finish at the end of 2023, and it will just be the 270 days. And we've got a great regulatory team working on that.
Thanks.
Great to chat.
No, sounds great. Okay, we're going to move on. Up next is Justin.
Great. Thank you, Mark. I'm Justin Ayers, the former healthcare trial lawyer turned health tech entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Equality MD. Equality MD provides LGBTQ inclusive telehealth for employers and individuals. My team and I created this company to solve two problems: healthcare inequities and data gaps. The pandemic exposed glaring healthcare inequities, particularly for the 30 million LGBTQ Americans. The community of the National Institutes of Health has declared a health disparity population. 56% of our community have experienced discrimination when seeking care, myself included, causing 28% not even bother seeking care. Data gaps about America's most undermeasured demographic prevent patients, providers, payers, and businesses from making informed, data-driven decisions. Our proprietary machine learning matching algorithm connects the LGBTQ community and its allies with culturally competent primary care and mental health providers nationwide who create safe spaces where patients can be their authentic selves and receive the care they deserve. We deliver innovative DEI solutions for employers, cure systemic healthcare inequities, and empower patients to become the superheroes of their own healthcare stories. PitchBook says the $216 billion LGBT telehealth market is significant, vital, and growing, and called our company out as only one of 5 companies in this space. And the $15 billion DEI market is rapidly growing. Our secret weapon is our team and our network. We have a network of partners worth over $40 billion. Just one of those partners, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, has a serviceable, obtainable market of $8 billion. Our partners enable us to create rapid organic growth. We're in talks with CVS Ventures to create an inclusive telehealth pilot program within Aetna as a fringe benefit. Of course, CVS is a potential exit strategy. For some of you who've heard me pitch before, I've got a few updates. I'm back from a huge health tech conference in Vegas where we met with 4 telehealth companies that want to help accelerate our product and bring it to market in Q1 of next year. We landed on one of them, and they're a fantastic company that's going to bring our product to market faster than the others. And best of all, because we have unparalleled access to the $216 billion LGBTQ telehealth community, they're doing it for free. We're also finalists in 3 national health tech accelerators. Each one gives out $100,000. We've raised $665,000 to date to build our MVP and test it with patients and providers. We're now raising a $775,000 safe note to take our product to market and begin trials with CVS and Boston Scientific. Finally, thanks to this amazing community, and I'm taking advice from those like Blake Wind and Nick Kolob and Jack Torben, I'm pitching at Startup Bright on December 5th. So wish me luck. If you'd like to learn more or see our pitch deck, send me a message in the chat or email me. I'll put my info in the chat. But thank you, Mark, and thanks everyone else, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Any quick questions of Justin? Meet Justin in the chat then, and we'll move on. David is up next.
Thank you, Mark, for your hard work and your high energy. Imagine saving drug companies $1 billion a year in production costs or years in drug discovery efforts for $100 million in yearly royalties. Hello, I'm David Mead, the CEO of Taro Bioworks, and I sold my previous company, Lucigen, for $70 million 4 years ago. At the dawn of my career, I also developed a molecular biology reagent called TA cloning that's made nearly $1 billion in product for another company. Sold it prematurely, didn't have a crystal ball back then, but it's been a great journey. So Taro Bioworks has pioneered this incredible synthetic biology platform that is 100 times faster and more precise than these old school pharma methods to discover and manufacture bioactive natural products that are beneficial to humans, plants, and animals. We can dramatically reduce these manufacturing costs of existing drugs and discover new ones much faster. We have strong IP revenues, and we're looking to raise $3 million in a Series A round at an $8 million valuation. And we're only one of 2 companies worldwide with this form of synthetic biology capabilities. And this is a much faster and more affordable timeline to revenues than going after pure drug discovery. The go-to-market strategy is to reduce the cost of goods for very expensive drugs such as cyclosporin, saving $1 billion in manufacturing costs. One licensing deal could be worth $100 million in revenue per year after you obviously IP protect it. And the exit strategy is to develop these overproducing drug strains, patent protect them, and license or sell the asset for 9 figures. And we think we can do that for more than one compound. And I think we're going to have a really nice mini unicorn potential here. So please stay in touch if you're interested in hearing more details. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Does anybody have any quick questions? You can meet David in the chat then. Thank you, everybody. Next up is Joe.
Hi, everyone. Great to be with you. My name is Joe Eberwein, co-founder and CFO of Courstrata, a telehealth solution solving the problem of lack of access to board-certified wound and ostomy nurses. Chronic wounds are a silent epidemic, and no one owns wound outcomes. In the US, there are 9 million people living with a chronic wound or an ostomy with a cost of over $96 billion. We have tested our tech-enabled service platform in post-acute providers, home health, hospice, skilled nursing facilities, and have demonstrated significantly improved clinical and financial outcomes. This year in 2022, we've expanded our model into the emerging hospital at home space, where we have 3 of the top 5 hospital at home providers as customers. We have a team of board certified wound and ostomy nurses with a waiting list of over 225 certified nurses who are attracted to our model of virtual care. This is in a market where there are only 10,000 wound certified nurses and over 4,000 open wound nurse positions on Indeed.com on any given day. We've completed 22,000 virtual wound consults and over 1,300 virtual ostomy consults with demonstrated return on investment to our customers at an above average gross profit margin. We're raising a $2 million seed round, which we will use to execute current contracts, as well as significant channel opportunities in our sales pipeline that will close in the next 60 to 90 days. Would love to connect with potential investors or persons with connections to providers or payers who might be interested in our solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Does anybody have any questions? Then meet Joe in the chat. Thank you, Joe. Next up is Lima.
Thank you, Mark. Growing up, my father was very abusive to my sisters and I remembered everything, and that's what made me get into mental health. But my sisters, who were identical twins, very successful actresses and YouTube stars, had no memory of the trauma. They had what's called complex PTSD. 9 years ago, they began experiencing symptoms of severe mental illness. They want to see a mental health professional, and that was the beginning of the end for them. The psychiatrist had no tools to treat them. He simply asked them, "How are you feeling?" And based on my sister's attempts to describe their psychiatric conditions, like a blind person trying to describe the color blue, a feeling that they've never felt before, he misdiagnosed them and prescribed them a cocktail of medications, which led to an addiction to their psychiatric meds. My sisters were misdiagnosed for 3 years. They developed that addiction, and they've been trapped in this cycle of relapse repeat for nearly a decade now. Not only is this problem keeping my sisters sick, but it's alongside millions of Americans. It's costing insurance companies billions of dollars. Our solution is data-driven healing. My name is Lima Yavramovich, and I'm the founder of Aura Telehealth for Mental Health. Aura is a comprehensive system that allows clinicians to see how a patient is feeling and track recovery progress. Our proprietary technology uses machine learning to track progression, regression, risk levels of patients, and improve case management and treatment outcomes with data for relapse prevention. I've led treatment initiatives and recovery planning for addictions, eating disorders, and severe mental illness for professional athletes, high-profile celebrities, and public figures, and I've been tremendously successful. The thing all of these people had in common is that they could afford to cash pay about $45,000 a month once insurance cuts them off. Aura is about setting a uniform standard of care and scaling accessibility and insurance coverage so that we can treat mental health like physical health using data. Our team has extensive experience in the healthcare industries. We've had market exposure and used our technology in hospitals and clinics. Our technology is ready for market. We're raising $1.1 million. We've already raised most of our seed round, but we have 1.1 left to raise to deliver our products to clients, and the funds will be used to expand the team. Our mission is to innovate mental health with data so that treatment centers make more money, insurance companies save money, and patients actually get better. Thank you. And one last thing, David, Mead, and Igor, I have some investors that I can connect you to. I don't know if you got my direct messages that I sent. So just email me a pitch deck that I can forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Lima, for helping the community out. Especially Phythera. I so appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions, Lima? I personally have had a chance to take a deeper dive into Lima's business model. It's spectacular. If we have investors in the room, you really should be talking to Lima. It's a good one worth spending some time with. Thank you, Lima. We'll move on. Up next is Frederick.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Dr. Frederick Abramson, founder of Golden Thread Technology. Tonight, I'm talking to the investors with kids who play sports, because the Golden Thread Technology mission is to reduce injury risks and severity to kids in sports around the world using DNA analysis combined with user data analytics. Playing sports is important in so many ways because you learn a lot of things. But when a kid gets hurt, the impact can be huge because it goes way beyond winning or losing. Losing means you get to play tomorrow, but getting hurt means you're out of the game. And some injuries like concussion and leg injuries can massively change that kid's future, including losing scholarships to colleges. In the US, every year, 3.5 million kid athletes suffer injuries that require medical attention. That's 1 in 8 of 30 million kid competitors. Suppose we could give you information that will let you identify high-risk injury areas and will let you make adjustment to lower the risks. Like knowing your child is 3 times more likely to suffer a concussion compared with her teammates, or that your child's genes related to vision means a greater risk of ACL tears in field sports. The fact is that DNA has a direct impact on injury risks. Whether it's the ACL, shoulder, elbow, or head, variations in a person's genetic makeup translates into measurable differences in the risk and severity of injuries. One genetic variant increases concussion risk by 300%. What parent wouldn't want to know this? Another gene variant relates to being a risk taker. I had a conversation with a 39-year-old woman in London recently who massively tore her ACL at 19 as a competitive downhill skier, and she still has to have surgeries. I told her she has the risk-taking gene, and she acknowledged that indeed she did take risks, which is why she both excelled and why she got hurt. So would you want to know this about your kids? Virtually everybody in over 1,000 interviews that I've done worldwide say yes, because what we're doing produces a path to greater control and focus on preventing injuries. If the business potential and social impact interests you as an investor, let's talk. My information is in the chat. Again, my name is Dr. Frederick Abramson, Golden Thread Technology. Thank you, Mark.
Mark, you're on mute.
I think, Mark, you're still.
Mark, you're on mute.
Thank you. I didn't know. I appreciate that. I wanted to just say, okay, well, I don't need to repeat that. Any quick questions for Frederick?
Yeah, I have one. Given the fact that you can identify these risk profiles, both for bodily injury and the like, why is this not being addressed at activities that specifically have such exposure in their work activity? Immediately what comes to mind is the ground pounders and the grunts in the Marines versus the field workers in the Forest Service and elsewhere, where their activity is exposed to risk. And if you can categorize those workers as to where they're best fit, you can both make their job safer and be more productive. Why focus on kids? Why not focus on the guy who's got a risk and has an insurance cost?
Well, Bill, those are actually downstream targets. We've actually talked to the military, and the people who train soldiers really love this model. The reason we're focusing on kids is because over the last 40 years, nothing's changed. It's still the same. 1 in 8 kids are getting hurt, and the impact on the family psychologically, economically is massive. But the worst thing is it changes a kid's life. A woman I know, her son was on a Division I scholarship in soccer. Senior year concussion ended that. A guy I talked to in Austin, Texas, told me his last 10 minutes of a basketball game in the senior year, he tore up his ankle, and that ended his scholarships. So we're focusing on an area where no one has been able to provide any substantive input to actually change the way the game is being handled. It's a great question, though.
No, but I understand that. But my point is, the challenge is, one, to create awareness amongst the parents that there is this value, this opportunity, then to create a message as to what that value is, then to tell them how to buy it, and then to get it in place. And so that's a very long educational cycle. Whereas if I go to somebody who's training the SEALs, for example, which ones are going through? We have such a high dropout rate in the SEALs.
Bill, I think we should have this conversation offline. I've talked to people who train the military. I've talked to 1,000 people around the world, many of them parents, and I can tell you this is the right target at the right time. We can talk offline.
Thank you.
And that was a good question, though. And thank you, Bill, for making a question. And I encourage everybody in the audience, if you have a question, to ask questions. We're going to move on. You can meet Frederick in the chat. Up next is David.
Thanks, Mark. I'm David Petchkovsky. I'm the founder of DapperCare. In 2019, I was diagnosed with cluster headaches, otherwise known as the suicide disease. It's extremely debilitating, if anybody knows about it. Unfortunately, when I tried to get some help from a specialist over at Stanford Hospital, the earliest I could get in to see a doctor was 8 months out. That was through a referral through my wife that works at the hospital. That experience made me realize how broken and antiquated our healthcare system is today. The process that individuals must go through to get help is cumbersome and extremely expensive. Patients are losing patience with the healthcare industry, and they're tired of not putting them first. People struggle to get the care they need when they need it. When it comes to addressing sensitive health issues, embarrassing doctor's visits are inconvenient, costly, inaccessible to the average American. I wanted to develop a solution to this problem I experienced firsthand. And that's when I put together DapperCare. DapperCare connects consumers with licensed medical professionals and enables everyone to seek the health and wellness care they deserve, no matter who they are where they're located, or if they have insurance. Our goal is to be the first stop in people's journey to accessing treatments for hundreds of conditions, utilizing our multi-condition health and wellness platform, providing access to high quality, affordable care without the need for insurance. Our platform consists of a consumer brand for women's and men's treatments. We address sensitive health issues, skincare, hair loss, mental health. We have a distributed provider network in all 50 states, an EHR, e-prescriptions, and a cloud pharmacy through Dapper Pharmacy. Currently raising $3.5 million to cover operations, development, and marketing costs. I started working on this company in March of 2021. We've got 18 employees so far. This is my 14th company that I've founded. So I've been doing this for about 25 years. I bootstrapped most of my companies. I raised $3 million for my marketing firm in 2020. But with Dapper, I bootstrapped it up till now. So with the exception of one investor. So let's see, I'm a software engineer by trade. I had my first exit before I graduated college. My team consists of all seasoned veterans in the industry. We've all been working in the health and wellness industry for 20 years. So we know the audience, we know who we're selling to. Consumer acquisition is our specialty. So,
Great.
Yep.
David is investable to our investors in the room. Absolutely reach out to David about his company, and does anybody have any quick questions?
Thanks, Mark.
You can meet David in the chat. We're going to keep moving on. Up next is Jeffrey, who is, I don't see you on camera. Jeffrey Cohen, you're not on camera.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Can you turn your camera on? There you go.
There you go. Hello, everybody. Mark, these events have been exciting. I owe many people here many calls because we're working on some great opportunities. But my name is Jeff Cohen. I'm the founder of My Life ID. We are a data aggregator. And what that means is the average person by the time they're 30 has 137 different medical records spread across labs, doctors' offices, dental offices, mental health clinics, treatments, hospitals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We aggregate that into one comprehensive, auditable, recognizable, and usable data set that we put on our platform, which can be accessed via the internet or through our hybrid Pocket Cloud proprietary USB device. The way this helps life science and bioscience companies is that it allows us to be able to help those companies performing clinical trials recruit the proper patient for the trial at a much lower cost and to close the value loop and bring them real world evidence and additional health information about their participant without them having to do all the extra legwork and pay for all of the additional health services of sending out traveling nurses, et cetera. For example, it takes a clinical trial an average of $6,000 to recruit a patient, mostly because they have to go out and test that patient personally with their own services. But we're helping to solve that and reduce that money and take that $6,000 down. We have 4 clinical trials that are beginning to run on our platform. We also have reached agreements with the European Connected Health Network to extend ourselves into Europe. And we are seeking $2 million to continue expanding our customer base. We're growing at about 1,000 consumers per week at this rate. You can also go to our website, www.mylifeid.com, and read why we were recognized as the top EMR EHR platform for 2022. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions either here, offline, or you can email me.
Any questions of Jeffrey?
Yes, this is Eric Reese with Forever North Partners. Jeffrey, can you please contact us? We're an investment firm, and I'd like to talk with you a little bit more about what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, be happy to.
Again, it's Eric, E-R-I-C, last name's Reese, R-E-E-S-E. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir.
That's exactly why we're all here. And thank you, Eric, for speaking up and connecting with one of our founders. So appreciate you. And everybody else can meet Jeffrey in the chat. Up next is Joel Adams.
Good afternoon or good evening to everyone. I'm Joel Adams. First Person Solutions is currently producing and selling the only known treatment that brings relief from long COVID. We know that our product works because everyone we've given it to has had fantastic results. Miracle is the word that I most often hear from them. We know that our product works because we understand the science of COVID and the role of inflammatory cytokines and how our product inhibits the production of those inflammatory cytokines. We know our product works because when we gave it to 115 people with long COVID, they reported statistically significant reductions in all of their symptoms. There is an FDA-approved blood test kit for long COVID. We have acquired 50 of these test kits, and we are about to commence a research study at a major hospital in Bangalore. By testing the patients prior, during, and after the using of Cellwell for 2 weeks, we will prove to the medical community that Cellwell reduces the inflammatory cytokines that cause all the symptoms of COVID and long COVID. In order to receive US over-the-counter approval from the FDA, we will need to do a double-blind research test, very similar to the very first thing that Mark spoke about in this meeting. We expect to be able to commence that test in the second quarter of 2023. In the meantime, we are already approved and on the market in India. Cellwell is a direct-to-consumer product. There is no prescription required. It is a simple-to-use drop. You put it under your tongue. It is a sublingual drop, and it is absorbed by your mouth. We're looking to raise $500,000 to keep us on our path for progress for the next 4 to 6 months. And we have a fantastic international executive team. And since most of you still would not believe me, please put your contact information in there if you want me to give you a box, and I will give you a box. Please give it to someone that you know who has long COVID, because you'll be doing them a great favor and helping them bring relief to this horrible disease. And then you will know for yourself that this actually works. Thank you.
That is great that you're working on long COVID. I'm so excited to hear there's a possible solution. I have a number of friends and connections that have this challenge. So kudos to you, Joel. Does anybody have any quick questions? Then meet Joel in the, oh, go ahead. I hear a voice.
Sorry, hi. Can you see me? Hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cristal Vidiello. I'm a consultant in life sciences in general. But one quick question is that in regard to long COVID, so being half Indian myself, I am aware of the fact that 32% of South Asians are predisposed to type 2 diabetes. And apparently there is a correlation between long COVID and type 2 diabetes. How do you plan to control for that, or can you do so? Thank you.
Joel, you're on mute. You're still on mute. There you go.
You are way above my level of medical knowledge. I will gladly put you in contact with my Chief Science Officer, Dr. Alban in Bangalore.
My family is in Bangalore, so please message me on the chat or find me on LinkedIn, and I would love to talk more on the subject. Thank you.
It is a great topic. And anybody else that's interested in talking to Joel, meet Joel in the chat so we can keep moving on. Up next is Vitali.
Hello, everybody. Mark, I like the color of your sweater.
We match.
Let me tell you about Sipple. Feeding problems affect about 27% of all babies. And Sipple is a baby bottle attachment that analyzes physiological parameters of infant feeding. It communicates to the user's mobile device. The user is the mother or the father, and delivers actionable guidance to help baby feed better. It can also track the milk consumption, so you don't have to keep track of 10 feeds a day, and shares objective data with the professionals like pediatricians and feeding therapists to help diagnose developmental abnormalities earlier and improve telehealth. I'm an MBA with a strong engineering background in medical device, and my co-founder, she's a neurodevelopmental pediatrician with over 15 years of experience. So we understand the problem very well and are working hard to solve it. We've done a lot of prototyping, and now we have a functional MVP. And we'd be delighted to speak with you about any potential future opportunities, like investments. And we also are looking for a chief marketing officer.
Oh, interesting. I might be able to help you with that. Any questions, Vitaly? It sounds smart. Smart baby bottle sounds smart to me. Meet Vitaly in the chat. Before Bill, you start, I just want, and thank you, Vitaly, for pitching. I just want to mention real quickly, I forgot to mention in the beginning, I am looking to start a venture starters fund so that we actually can be investing in some of the amazing, talented people who come to these events. As you can see, just from the first hour of people who have pitched, we have some extraordinarily smart people who are part of this community, and there's some amazing investment opportunities. If any of you would like to team with me to develop the fund so we can have that as another tool for next year, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you. Up next is Bill.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Bill Whitmire. I'm the founder of a company called Pulmostics Limited. We're in the business of vapor analysis, in particular breath analysis. The market opportunities that we're addressing currently and then future market opportunities, we're looking first at breast cancer. As you may be aware, 650 million women died last year from breast cancer. Over 202 million new cases were diagnosed last year. Most of those diagnoses were taking place at stage 3 or later, which is a 65% chance of 5-year survival. So early detection is the key to do it. The problem is that women in most of the world are not following the prescribed one because either cost, lack of availability, or just plain discomfort. The US, we get about 68% of the women following the FDA prescribed requirement. Around the Western world, it drops down. We have a technology which we're conducting clinical trials in Mexico right now using breath analysis. One breath, 5 minutes, that's all it takes. At the point of care, we will give the woman whether she has an indication that she has breast cancer or not, in which case, if it's positive, follow up with some other identification technology. The opportunity globally is in the billions of women. The underlying technology has already been tested to establish that we can detect lung cancer with a 92% sensitivity in a large trial that we did in China. The reason we're focused on breast cancer, though, is that's the only cancer in the world other than colorectal where governments have spent 70 years convincing women to be screened for that. So there's a market with a technology that women detest. So our goal is to get a clinical approvals in Mexico, then come back to the US FDA. We're currently raising $3 million to complete the clinical trials and the commercial launch in Mexico with COFI pre-approval there. You can reach me at pulmostics.com or with the address I've given. We look forward to talking to any of the investors about what the current technology is and where we can go with it. Thank you.
It sounds spectacular, Bill. So just breathing and 5 minutes, you can figure out it. I mean, to what percentage can you actually?
We're about the same as a mammogram. A mammogram, which is supposedly the gold standard, is at best 85% sensitivity. If you go into the lower middle income markets, you're going to be lucky to have 80% sensitivity. We all know cases of women who've had a mammogram and then 3-4 months later, she's diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer because they miss it, because you've got issues associated with tissue density, location. There are a lot of problems with it. So a mammogram is really not the best standard that's out there. There's actually a study where using breath analysis and looking at the headspace analysis of a woman's urine at the same time, you can get a 95% positive predictive value for breast cancer. And that's actually excellent for young women who have dense breast tissue. So in a lot of countries, breast cancer is not a postmenopausal disease. It is a premenopausal disease. And so you're dealing with dense breast tissues. And you have a lower probability of detecting it through a mammogram because you don't have the difference in tissue density. So it's a very fascinating and very interesting technology. For women's health, the other thing that we're looking at is that it appears that you can identify cervical cancer by looking at the trace compounds that are present in a woman's vaginal fluids. There's one study that's been done that indicates that that works out. So then you can come up with a reasonably non-invasive means of screening for cervical cancer. So vapor analysis has a large potential, and we're just getting started. We and about 15 other companies are all getting started in looking at how does vapor analysis give doctors diagnostically actionable information at the point of care.
It's fascinating sounding to me. Does anybody have any quick questions?
Yeah, Bill, yeah, this is Rajiv from Lilly Launch Tools. Yeah, totally fascinated by what you're doing. Just wanted to ask, are you totally focused only on cancer prevention and diagnosis, or are you also looking at potentially like other things like maybe diabetes or heart disease or things like that?
Send money and I can go look at all of this. It's really, we know lung cancer is one, but the challenge is there's no screening test for lung cancer, so you have to develop the market. Breast cancer is the only one that's out there. Diabetes, it's very interesting, but we do have a cheap test for diabetes with a simple little blood prick. What would be more interesting is, can we look at somebody's breath when they're doing a standard health check, and see if there's a pattern that's consistent with the potential for developing diabetes. So we can we identify whether you're insulin resistant before it shows up as being type 2 diabetes? The answer to that is, I believe, yes, but that's going to require some significant clinical studies to be done in doing that. Short-term infectious diseases, tuberculosis, Lyme disease, all of these diseases that are out there. When you have a bacteria that's in your body, it excretes compounds that are because of its behavior, and you can identify some of those. The question is whether they're sensitive enough and specific enough to make it a useful tool. The one area where it's been done is Dr. Sophia Koo at Brigham and Women's looked at Aspergillus-induced pneumonia. And if you take a breath sample of somebody who has Aspergillus-induced pneumonia, you can identify it in that 5-minute test. The problem is Aspergillus-induced pneumonia isn't a large enough disease. It's a rare disease. Immunocompromised people and people who get something called valley fever tend to be the only ones that have that. So it's not large enough to justify a whole new technology one, but breast cancer is. And breast cancer, unscarily, is younger women at a younger age right now. In Sinaloa, Mexico, 1/3 of all new cases of breast cancer are occurring in women under age 40.
This is all fascinating, and we're going to have to move on to our other founder speakers. But Bill, if you can arrange to get a deck sent to me, I would like to learn more.
I will send you a deck. I will get you the deck after the new year. Let's also talk about your other program along there, so that I know you generally go out and say, well, here's how we raise money. We call up somebody and say, we know your children go to school, but we want to do it the ethical way. We want to sell them, not extort them.
Okay, nice to have you pitch, Bill. We're going to move on. Up next is Jean-Claude.
Thanks, Mark. Hello, I'm Jesse, serial entrepreneur and Fortuit CEO. So we focus on wellness through on-demand social moments using a patent pending emotional artificial intelligence. So Fortuit fits perfectly into this venture starter STEM, as a large part of our R&D lies in understanding behaviors and especially the hormonal response to loneliness, a pandemic that deeply affects 30% of adults on Earth and literally kills 6 million people a year. So helping people meet in real life seems the obvious solution, but it can increase problem as described by Dr. Cassioppo from Chicago University, trapping dissatisfied users in a vicious cycle due to cortisol saturation. Fortuit has the solution to minimize this risk by providing a positive experience for everyone. This will give everyone a daily chance to meet 40 like-minded people in a cheerful cocktail atmosphere designed to increase serotonin through specific food and oxytocin through musical patterns variations and curated interpersonal interactions. These are the hormones of well-being and empathy, you know. The concept development and successfully tested, we have finalized the development and successfully tested the traction of our affiliate marketing strategy to reach the necessary critical mass through influencers micro events. Additionally, last week, we finalized the business acquisition discussion with a team that has a combined 20 years of research into emotional profiling and matchmaking algorithm in the HR industry. Their solution has already been bought by some of Fortune Global 500. So long story short, think of Fortwit as an Uber socializing app that will be globally accessible and will only take seconds to book your daily crowd customized micro event. We will make sure everyone can safely make meaningful friendships outside of the virtual world. Many top VCs believe that one of the next big things will emerge from the socializing industry with trillions of dollars potential. I will leave an interesting source in the chat so you can see. Believe me, this market will not die as long as humans are humans, the social species. So to conclude, we address the entire spectrum of socialization and not just the dating niche, which still has hundreds of millions of subscribers. To give perspective, for every million customers, we build a $1 billion tangible real estate assets like McDonald's and more than $1 billion in annual revenue. With our highly scalable sharing economy business model, we will rapidly accelerate. For now, we are offering to angels a $1 million bridge in a $10 million round, and before the end of 2023, a regulation A+ of $70 million. So together, we will build a unique knowledge in sociology through our AI and fight a pandemic that each year kills, keep that in mind, 3 times more than COVID, and make a more friendly world for everyone. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody have a question of JC? Meet him in the chat. And up next is Marina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marina, the founder of Diagneo. We help women realize their desired family size by providing rapid at-home diagnostics to track their hormonal health and fertility. Did you know that every second woman has difficulties to conceive even after 6 months of trying? And it may take her as much as 10 doctor visits before being referred to the correct specialist. Why is that? If we think about it, women's reproductive health is the key for humanity. But from official healthcare standpoint, infertility is not even considered a disease. Therefore, a lot of diagnostics is done much later than needed, not reimbursed properly, and that results in as much as $1 billion out-of-pocket money spent every year in the US alone. As a further result, many women have to be rushed to expensive IVF process. However, many root causes could have actually been treated to begin with. For me, fighting this problem is a very personal payback story. I'm actually an IVF baby myself, born in a family of gynecologists, and 2 years ago with my partner, we've been through 7 consecutive IVF cycles to succeed with our second child. Besides that, I have 15 years of experience in healthcare and medical devices specifically, so I know that problem firsthand. I believe we can really solve it if we're able to test our hormonal health at home, easy, and at a fraction of a cost. And while in the US, the solutions start to arise in this space, there are other parts of the world where it's not so. And here we come to our market definition. We play in $10 billion endocrine testing market, doing it very differently from the existing players. First, we disrupt traditional lab segment because we're faster, cheaper, and provide better experience. Second, we play smarter than current solutions because we're focusing on the least invasive biomarker, saliva. And third, we start from the most growing world economy, which is Gulf countries. And that market actually has the highest infertility rates globally, and at the same time lacks innovative solutions like this. And then we're gonna scale to US from there. What makes us confident to execute this plan? Well, we actually have built the first product, at-home saliva estrogen test for ovulation prediction, and had local sales reaching 400 units in just 3 months. And in parallel, we're already working on our second gen solutions, which is effectively a 5 key hormonal biomarkers and multiplex measurement at home lab, which delivers insight about hormonal health as a whole, from fertility to postpartum depression to menopause. We're proud to be backed up by Expert Dojo and Alchemist Accelerator in the US, and also one Middle Eastern group from Saudi Arabia, and would be happy to hear from you too, raising our 600K pre-seed safe round. Thanks for your attention.
It sounds like a great company. You and I have spoken before, and I really am hopeful that we will find the money through our community for you. It's a perfect example of why I want to have our own fund. This would be something I'd be interested in investing in, and you know, and others that are here. Does anybody have any quick questions of Marina?
Yeah, Marina, this is what you said is like absolutely, you know, critical. I think this is something that probably, like, are you thinking of doing any sort of like lobbying or government advocacy? Because I'm sure China could use you, because after the one-child policy, they had like a lot of problems with trying to get the population back on track. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
I will tell you like this. We're focusing right now on two markets, as I said, the Gulf and later on the US. So in the Gulf region, we're already started to get connected to some of the governmental bodies, because we really believe this is the way to correct that, essentially, because as you said, many governments are really concerned on taking back to track the fertility rates, which have been drastically lower than before due to the specific lifestyle choices.
Yeah, so please send me a deck. I think I might be able to help.
Thanks so much, Rajiv.
Most
We'll do
welcome.
so.
Great. Let's move on. Up next is Parush.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, Mark, and good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Good evening for people on the West Coast, on the East Coast. And yeah, my name is Piyush Sheth. I'm the founder and CEO of K Medical. K Medical is focused on preventing pressure injury. And we have a smart mattress that we are actively working on that will alleviate the pressure points on the back of the patients laying who are immobile and who cannot move themselves. And there are 60,000 patients that die every year as a direct result of pressure injury. And 2.5 million patients suffer from pressure injury in the US alone. And the number is a lot bigger when you consider the rest of the world. And because of the aging population, there is a huge need for pressure injury prevention and for the elderly care, and especially with the emphasis on aging in place. I don't know how many of you have heard about that, but like there is a big emphasis about not being in a hospital setting and being at home and being close to your loved ones in the last stages of your life. And this is an interesting product, and we have the ability to alter the pressure points on the back of a 400-pound patient laying on a bed with a force that's less, with a very small force, which is equivalent to opening a desk drawer. And so we have three kinds of mattresses. One is a manual mattress, which you can physically just move with less than a pound force with a heavy patient laying on it. And we also have a automated mattress, which will use an actuator to do that. And we have our most advanced version, which will use artificial intelligence by sensing the pressure and moving the pressure points while the person is laying on it and adjusting and providing relief on the back. So we have been actively working. We have patents pending in Europe and the US, and we are actively funded through NIH, and we are looking for commercialization funds for our seed fund. A seed fund which we are looking for at this time is $3 million for 30% equity. And one thing that I do want to mention is that this is a huge problem for nursing homes, where there is a lot of litigations from family members of the patients alleging the nursing homes of not taking care of their patients. And our automated version, along with the data recording capabilities that it has will allow them to provide complete proof of pressure point alternation and adequate relief of the pressure on the back of the patients. So this is a fantastic product for nursing homes to help them take care of the patients and also prevent their staff from breaking their backs when trying to move the patients around. So there's a lot of benefits of this product, and that's where I'll leave at. I'll put my information in the chat, and any interested parties, investors, collaborators, please feel free to reach out.
I personally love this one. So take a look. It's really interesting. I mean, the bed is not, the mattress is not a typical mattress. This is like, you know, Star Wars, you know, high technology meets a mattress. It's really worth taking a look at. Kudos for inventing this. And I hope you get the funding that you need. Meet those in the chat that are interested. We're going to move on. Up next is Rajiv.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. This community is totally lit. Everyone here is awesome. And I highly recommend for everyone to take Mark up on his offer. We had the opportunity of doing so. And just in that 30 minutes, I feel like it was a fast forward through business school, all 2 years of it condensed, and it was amazing. It was amazing. So definitely please take Mark up on that offer. You'll be so, it's like your Christmas gift. Okay, anywho, let me get back to why I raised my hand to begin with. Hi, everyone. My name is Rajiv Jadhav. I'm the co-founder and COO of Lilly Launch Tools. I'm also a United Nations speaker and advisor, helping various countries solve child homelessness around the world after my speech at the United Nations in 2020, just before the pandemic. I'd like to walk you through a small exercise. Please close your eyes and take a deep breath. Exhale. Listen to your breathing. Now imagine utopia. Let me paint you a picture of what that looks like. Utopia is your team knows exactly what they're doing. They are so aligned with your mission, your vision, what you're trying to do in the world. And they know exactly what to do, when to do it, are prompted to do it, so that you don't have to follow up with them every time to make sure that they do it. The benefit of this is that this adds hundreds of work hours back into your work week, which enables you to either launch faster, sell more products, and potentially add thousands, if not millions of dollars additionally to your top line with each additional week of launching faster. Lilly Launch Tools is the only strategy-enabled process management tool designed for pharma, life science, and the medical device industry. Trust me, we checked. Lilly Launch Tools allows you to launch faster so that your patients and clients who are desperate for your product and service can now avail of your product and service and can then live their best life. We're looking to raise $400,000 for 5% equity in our seed round, which will help us with customer acquisition, product development, and operating expenses. I'll put my details in the chat, and I'm open to any questions anyone may have.
Any quick questions? I want to personally thank you for that nice compliment. Thank you. That was made me blush. But we're going to move on. You can meet everybody that you need to in the chat. Up next is Ricardo.
Hi, Mark. Hey, hi, everybody. Thank you for the invitation, Mark. This is, I will try to do as good as all of you guys. So my name is Ricardo Polar. I am the founder and CEO of Pin4All. So we want to develop the best data-driven, sport-adapted formula to preserve the cognitive, motor, and physical capabilities of seniors and be able to delay the evolution of some neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson. The problem is that only 25% of people do enough exercise recommended for their health. even with COVID, has created really sedentary bad habits, and that's a big problem and a huge burden for society. So our platform will enable people to exercise and keep them training and practicing. One of the best sports for the brain and the body. Do you have an idea what a sport could be? It's ping pong, yes, or table tennis actually, because ping pong is already a really popular game, and everybody, I think, have already played. And table tennis is an Olympic sport. So we want to take all those techniques and adapt it in a therapeutic training and analyze all the data captured from the activity of the patient and generate the digital twin of the patient itself using the performance metrics of the training sessions, the motion analytics of the patients, the digital biomarkers using wearables. So we will get the coach feedback and the patient condition so the doctor can follow up and adapt the medication. And that's a huge problem because medication until now only it's going to hide the symptoms. So we want to be able to delay the symptoms the most possible to keep them the quality of life the longest possible. Yes. So our technology integrates an expert recommendation system. So we have the best coaches and professionals, players and coaches in Europe. So we're based in Luxembourg actually, and we want to build this system with all this expert know-how. So the patient will exercise and the system will provide the most adapted exercise for it. So they will continue getting better on practicing, and that will just make their brain work in like nothing before. So there's a lot of evidence already that table tennis could be used as therapeutic activity. And there's studies in Japan showing that, and we want to do a study here in Luxembourg, and we need a lot of participants. So if anybody knows Parkinson patients, please contact us, and we will love to work with you. And we're looking for investors to make this this virtual hope of those patients reality. Thank you.
All right. Any questions of Ricardo?
Yeah, so Ricardo, I'm a little bit unclear as to, maybe I missed it, but are you trying to solve Parkinson's through table tennis?
Yes, that's exactly. Well, at least keep their quality of life the longest possible.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious what the statistics would be on how they might improve. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a quick question.
Please.
I'm super familiar with ping pong and mental health and taking it to senior living. Do you guys have revenues already?
We are early stage. For now, we have a club in Luxembourg providing the services for seniors, just for keep them active. And we're just starting the next year to the clinical validation. So for now, we're just.
And how much are you guys raising?
Now we try to raise a convertible of 500K for the next year, and for close in the seed round to 2.5 million.
Okay, so you've raised 2 million. You're raising 500K more.
No, we just raised 70K now to start working on the wellness aspect, let's say, just to keep seniors active with some nice product training. But the medical trials on the Parkinson specific, that's the why we need the money. Yes.
Okay. If you want to send me an email, I have a couple more questions about the tech, and I have a potential collaboration that could bring you revenues if you're open to that.
Ah, that's great. Thank you, Lima.
Thanks, Lima. That again is an example of why we have these events. I love that. Okay, Ricardo, we're gonna have to move on. You'll have to meet others in the chat. I hear my voice in the background. Let me mute everybody real quick. Okay, up next is Deidre.
Hi, everyone. My name is Deirdre Cahill, and I'm the Communications Director of Global Laser Reach. There is an unmet need to help millions of women suffering with chronic pelvic and bladder pain. These women either suffer in silence go on narcotics, or contemplate suicide. Current treatments are painful to receive and they don't work very well. Our inventor, Dr. Hetz, had a patient for 25 years suffering with chronic pelvic pain. The existing treatments did not help her. He performed 6 laser photon energy treatments intravaginally, and she felt better after just 1 treatment. After 6 treatments, her pain was gone. Research shows that the laser photon energy stops pain, suppresses inflammation, and relaxes muscles. Dr. Hetz has developed and built our patented Reslux vaginal therapy system. It solves the problem with today's treatment. It's not painful to receive, there are no significant side effects, and we predict next year's clinical research will confirm it is highly effective and cures are possible. Solar therapy is our only competitor. Last year, they published the world's first research on vaginal photon energy for pelvic pain. Solar has a lower energy output and it does not have a cooling system. We'll sell vaginal treatment packages to the healthcare providers for every woman who wishes to receive this revolutionary treatment. Our growth strategy involves adding experienced independent distributors and selling to PT departments and medical clinics. Dr. Hetz is a Manitowoc gynecologist and the inventor. Dr. Petrafetta has over 30 years experience in developing and manufacturing medical laser devices. By 2025, our projected revenue is $10 million. The targeted retail price of the Reslux vaginal therapy system is $65,000. Phase 1 is already 35% funded of $500,000 that we're looking to raise in phase 1, and that's for our upcoming pilot studies. Phase 2 is a fundraise of $3 million. Our funders have invested over $1 million of their own money. Thank you for your time.
That's fascinating. I haven't heard this one yet. So I would like to see a deck if you have something. Maybe one of my assistants can arrange to talk to you about how it can get to me. Does anybody have any quick questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So is this like something preventative or is this for vaginal health? Like, can you clarify that?
So it's treatment for chronic pelvic and bladder pain. It can also be preventative. So chronic pelvic and bladder pain is a condition that affects more women than one would think of. Dr. Hetz, being a gynecologist, has treated many women with current treatments, but they don't really work. With this treatment, using laser photon energy, it's in the infrared spectrum. It's proven, there's scientific research on the therapy itself of how this energy works to heal. And so this application is much different than normal application because it's going intravaginally, and it does help on the musculoskeletal of the pelvic walls.
Is it something to do with triggering stem cell production or something?
Not so much. It does relax muscles, and it suppresses inflammation, and it does stop pain impulses.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, please send me a deck.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So many chronic urinary tract infections are caused due to chronic E. coli UTIs. So is this specific? Do you have any kind of specific knowledge of specific microbial species that are being treated by this particular laser treatment?
No, this specifically targets the musculoskeletal structures. So it's your musculoskeletal structures of your pelvic walls and your vaginal walls and your bladder walls.
Has this technology been used to impact pain anywhere else?
Yes, it's actually being used in sports physical therapy departments and sports medicine at the moment. I know so I'm in Wisconsin, and I do know the Green Bay Packers are using this technology on their players. So it is a technology that has been around. It's been evolving for the last 30 years. This is another different type of application for it.
Okay, very interesting. We're going to have to move on. There's probably others that have questions, but they can meet you in the chat. If you can get a deck to me, I'd like to learn more about it. It's very interesting. Up next is Connor. You're still on mute, Connor. Your turn. I can come back to you if need be, but we'll need to get you off of mute if you want to speak. Let's move on, at least temporarily, to Laura, who's next in my queue. And Connor O'Brien, maybe you can work on the chat on your mute so you can speak to us next. Laura, you're up next.
Great. Thanks, Mark. This is my first time and I love this community already. So I'm Laura Murray, founder and CEO of CETA Global. I'm a clinical psychologist and a senior scientist at Johns Hopkins. As a licensed provider, I have just watched so many people for 20 plus years now go through such a painful journey to mental health care. So as an example, just thinking of one person, Mike, who came in with PTSD, depression, and substance use, very common to come in with multiple problems. And although we've improved access through technology companies, access is getting us to individuals, licensed providers. And what most people don't know is that 80 to 90% of licensed providers have no opportunity to learn evidence-based treatments. They don't learn them in school. So treatment is actually ineffective and lasts years. As Lima, you actually pointed out, and this just is not how it should be based on the science. Mike also had to go through $300, 3 separate hours of assessment because assessments are very siloed. Then he finally found a person who could do evidence-based practice for depression only. But look at his journey. He's now, and he waited 6 to 8 months, as David pointed out to us. Now he's looking for an evidence-based provider who knows PTSD. And then he has to find a separate evidence-based provider who knows substance use. Such an ineffective model. So at CETA Global, we're focused on addressing the problem of quality care and wait lists in mental health care by de-siloing and moving away from this very antiquated mental health system that comes at such a high cost to consumers, insurers, providers, and society. So our innovation actually allows for assessment of comorbidity and treatment of comorbid conditions on average for only 8 sessions. So we could have treated Michael effectively in 8 sessions. This is rooted in decades of work from Johns Hopkins. We have multiple rigorous controlled trials already done. And CETA is actually shown to be more effective than even the most well-studied evidence-based treatments for other mental health. We've raised about 10 million plus over the past 10 years in grant funding. We have a number of pilots and global contracts currently, while we're building out software, essentially clinical decision tools to help us scale here in the US. Right now, we're really looking to build out our team. We need engineering, probably a product manager, maybe even a co-founder as we embark on thinking about raising funds. So I'd love to connect with anyone.
I would like to connect with you directly. I may know a co-founder that, first of all, that was very interesting and impressive sounding. So one thing I'm really well connected with is CEOs and co-founders and board members, and I like what you're doing. So thank you for coming in and pitching us. Any quick questions of Laura? Meet Laura in the chat then, everybody. Very interesting. Okay, Connor, how is your feed? Are you able to join us or not? I have a feeling that you would need to dial back in and start over because we're not getting a good feed from you. So I'm going to move on, Connor. Up next is Andrew.
Hi, my name is Andrew Blighty. I'm CEO of Solstice Biotech. We have a technology in the medical device area that actually is 8K. 8K, what do I mean by 8K? That's 33 million pixels on the screen. We have a camera that we developed with the workstation to the monitor, and this is for live tissue biopsy movies. So the current state of affairs is basically for biopsies, there's 30 million biopsies done around the world, is in 2D with fixed tissue on a slide. So you only get a 2D image of this, but we have a technology now where we can make a movie that actually shows the interstitium spaces, the proteins that would interaction, cell surface stuff, and it's all in 8K movies. And the big thing for this is really able to nobody's even doing 4K. The microscope companies are just getting into 4K. And so the advantage of this is to show stuff for nuclei if you were doing artificial intelligence or deep learning. And so this system is really, I most recently did a diagnosis with a prostate patient and showed exactly what was in the biopsies by making movies and images with our system. So if anybody's really interested in seeing the state of the art of image, and so this image can be used in radiology, it can be used in dentistry, it can be used in ophthalmology. So this is a camera system and a high-end workstation that is live. So you can go from live from monitor. In other words, we are able to put a slide under the microscope and do the focusing using the monitor, not the eyepiece. So I'm looking for investors, and we're looking to push money for BNB. We are at a stage of working units right now, and I'm in the process of writing grants at the National Science Foundation. Image is big, and so is spatial biology right now. And this is the acquisition for spatial biology.
So is the camera and the monitor already completed and done, and that
Yes.
there's no technology risk, basically,
Yes.
right? You're just
Yes.
needing to. What is your hurdle other than
My main hurdle is I'm changing the field of biology. I mean biopsies from dead tissue to live tissue. So it is being able to get systems in the hands of maybe pathologists and stuff. So the technology is ready to go. I just need some more marketing. Now, a little of my background is I worked at Becton Dickinson and with immunotherapy with Jim Allison, who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and mapped out the immune system. I was the developer, and then I also worked on the Human Genome Project. So I have a huge background of medical devices in 40 years. And
I have 5 ideas right off the top of my head as to how I can help scale you. So any of my assistants, please reach out to Andrew so he and I can get on a calendar together and speak.
Yeah, I mean,
you can find my calendar at the bottom of the venturestarters.com website. Also, you can definitely schedule some time with me. I have instant ideas, especially for anybody whose products are developed. And
this is developed. This is developed. I've actually, you wouldn't believe, but I'm not going to tell you the personal thing, that I used this on a family member and showed the cancer to be intact. And we are going to look at lymph nodes and see if what they call negative is really negative, in a prostate cancer.
Really
It's
interesting.
incredible. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have a quick question of Andrew?
Yeah. One question, Andrew. When you're looking at this, how much re-education do you think is necessary among pathologists to get them to shift to this new information?
Good question.
That's a very good question. So in radiology, almost 85% of the radiologists use the computer. In pathology, it's only 3%. So what they do is they do a gross anatomy, okay? They do a basic H&E, that if you get cancer, they make all the diagnoses with H&E rather than what biomarkers like PD-L1 and CTLA4. I have a huge background in all of that because I commercialized. When I was at Becton Dickinson, I commercialized CD3, CD4, all the T cells. So, I mean, 150 antibodies for all of these markers. So having a marker versus a well-trained pathologist is unbelievable, and you can make a movie. So I'll leave it with this. A picture says 1,000 words. A movie tells the whole story.
Nice. I'm real interested. I look forward
I
to.
have a quick question, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead, Tara.
Okay. Hi, Tara from Oath Healthcare. Great idea. What kind of data does your AK, movie file?
It generates up to like 100 gigabytes.
Okay.
I won't get into the technology.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Yeah, okay.
But I will say
asking for a
this:
second.
you're looking at a 360, and then you're looking at we can do.
No, I got you. You answered my question. I'll follow up with you later. But second quick question: Are you selling hardware to providers, hospitals?
But I also want to develop. I also wanted to do, we're patenting, and I want to develop absolute quantification in a 3D sense. So you're looking at a movie in 3D. So if you have live tissue, you can look at 1 micron, 2 microns, 3 microns. If you have
totally understand. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, dead tissue, you only get that space, in time.
Thanks, Andrew, for coming. This was
Thank you for the opportunity to present this.
Yeah, let's stay in touch for sure. Up next is Mark. You're still on mute, Mark. You're still on mute. Oops.
Apologies, I seem to have a problem as I logged in from my phone as well.
I can hear you. I lost you in my feed, but I hear your voice. Go ahead and give us a pitch.
I'll quickly give you the pitch, though the video is not great. I'm Mark Lindsay. I reside in Moab, Utah, and originally from South Africa. I'm a forensic scientist and have invented and patented multiple biosensors in the past. And the latest one, which is named Performix W, is a polyurethane wound dressing integrated with biosensors that can monitor and heal a wound and process the data to the cloud and to health services. So it's a $31 billion annual problem with Medicare costs of between $3,000 to $5,000 per wound healing. And of course, there's a veterinary market as well, which is about 1.1 billion. And there is huge civilian and military applications. The value in the wound care lies in that the dressing can heal the wound 50 times faster and provide valuable data on what's happening at a cellular level with biomarkers, temperature, exudate, lactate. The therapeutic effect of the dressing is based on a pressure tension, and this promotes granulation and reduces pressure on wounds. And secondly, it allows the promotion of blood flow and self-healing. And then 3, which is the most important one, which no one has been able to really crack in a biosensor environment, is the excess exudate or pus is actually absorbed, and the sponge creates an environment that maintains the pressure and moisture so that the wound heals properly. We have excellent trials that we've done in studies on animals, and we have a present relationship with SRI as a technology partner, and we're seeking some seed investment to complete the integration of the biosensors and produce a world first MVP. And
wow, that is interesting.
that's my little story for today. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
There may be military money for something like this as well. In any event, I'd like to see your deck when you have a chance. Anybody have a quick question of Mark? You can meet Mark in the chat then, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
By the way, if you're still here, those of you who are still here, I do want to try this lightning round. We only have 2 more speakers. And I'm going to open up the floor to anybody that wants to be on camera and say a few words to the community about who they are. I hope some of you will be brave enough to present yourself to us so we can get to know who you are. Up next is Lynn.
Hi, Mark, and thank you very much. And I apologize for being tardy. I completely messed up on the time zone difference. So this is my third time of being here. So thank you very much for listening to me. So I'm Lynn Donaldson, and I'm the CEO of Connecte Strategic Solutions Group. We are product launch enablers for the pharmaceutical and medical devices companies. And I hear a lot of companies on here in the medical field. So I'm very interested. And I'll go back to the recording to hear those that I didn't hear earlier. But when we were working with our clients, we noticed that they would use Excel sheets. We would develop the strategy with them or for them, but they wanted us to use Excel sheets, and they can be really unwieldy. They're not senior management friendly. They really don't map the goals down to the key activities which the companies need, and they don't provide a snapshot. So with Rajiv Jadhav, also on this call, we developed a SaaS tool called Lily Launch Tools. Now, Lily Launch Tools is senior management friendly because you can see your data in a Kanban chart or a Gantt chart really easily. It maps all the way from goals down to key activities, which is really super important. And it does provide a snapshot that saves time and money, because asking highly paid consultants to work on your Excel sheets is really not a good idea and not very healthy for your budget system. So here's how we're different from other tools. As I said, we're designed specifically for pharmaceutical and medical devices. We are the only tool that maps from goals down to key activities. And we provide both Gantt and Kanban charts to all our customers at all subscription levels. So I'm also the CEO of Lily Launch Tools, and we're seeking 400,000 for development of version 2, which we already know what we need to put into version 2. We want marketing and operations. And Andrew mentioned earlier that he worked for BD. BD is one of my industry mentors, and we're working very closely with somebody from BD who are testing Lily Launch Tools with us to help us get ready for version 2 as well. But for what they've seen so far, they've said that they haven't seen anything as innovative in the industry for helping them map from their goals down to their key activities. So thank you very much for your time. And if you'd like to chat more, we'd welcome the opportunity. And again, Mark, thank you for allowing me to come in so late.
You're calling from where? You're in Europe, I think. Where are you based?
No, I'm actually in Atlanta. I've been in the US 17 years.
Okay, well, your accent catches me off guard there. It's a delightful accent. Anyways, thank you, Lynn. Meet Lynn in the chat. Rajiv has already done a fantastic job presenting your company tonight. So we're going to move on to Connor, and your connection looks already better. Hopefully it'll work this time.
Yeah, can everybody hear me now?
Yes, let's try it.
Excellent. Awesome. Hey, I'm Connor. Some of you may know me. I've connected with some of you on LinkedIn. Working on Kyndra. So it's a quantum platform for software. So it has some applications to biotech. So what we're working on in regards to biotech is making great simulations for pharmacokinetics and different protein models. So yeah, we're looking for partners who may be interested in that, or different ways that we can share data or do new and innovative things with quantum computers.
Great. Meet Connor in the chat, and I appreciate that you hung in there. I would, if anybody would like to now raise their hand in order to just get on camera for a moment and introduce yourself, please go to the reaction button at the bottom, or maybe it's at the top of your screen, and look for the hand raise. And that way I can see if there's anybody that would like to say hello. If this doesn't appeal to our community, I don't have to include this in our future events. I just thought it might make some sense. Raji, you're up first apparently, and anybody else that would like to just say a few words. It would be great to get to know everybody, not just our founders, but others that are in the room who might play other key roles that may be useful to, helping us build our community to make it the success that I know it can become. Let's get started.
Hi, so yes, my name is Raji. I'm a physician here in Florida. I'm working on the board of advisors for a global network of doctors driving innovation in the medical field, Global Health Impact Network. Also working on getting regulation for the field of regenerative medicine. I'm a key opinion leader with the American College of Regenerative Medicine. I'm working on a startup company that's set to redefine the future of medical education and training worldwide. We'll be kicking off in the United States here sometime around Q2 of 2023. And then from there, we've already built out teams for international expansion afterwards, but we'll be starting in the US next year. So thank you.
Nice. Wow, that's very impressive sounding. Nice to have you in our community. Thanks for sharing. Up next is Luke, who helped convince me to even start this. And I'm very appreciative of Luke.
Thank you very much, Mark. I think it was a great journey, and I really believe that community is a way of doing things, because people in general are social creatures, and being a founder sometimes is a very lonely adventure, and having a community of supportive people, it's one of the best things to grow yourself. And I think that founders should learn something, that they first have something to give and then to expect something to get. So I would like to network with our founders and encourage them to get back to our meetings in future. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Luke.
Welcome.
Okay, Rajiv, you're up again.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I actually had a question for Connor. Connor mentioned something about his company, but I wasn't clear as to either what it was or how that related to healthcare.
So with quantum AI models, you can simulate protein models and pharmacokinetics for cosmetics, pharma in general for medicine. So you can simulate that faster. You can find things that are you wouldn't have found otherwise, because you can search through the entire space of molecular models much more efficiently.
Can you say that in simple English?
We help you do models faster and more efficiently.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that was good for clarification. All right, up next is, I'm gonna probably not pronounce your first name right. Maybe you can come on the screen and do it yourself. I'm gonna guess Efahi. I'm sure I mispronounced that, and my apologies in advance.
Hello. My name is Effie. I know my name is written there as Efehi, but most people just go by the word Effie. And I'm a founder. I own a Triangle Specialized Family Clinic, and also Triangle Specialized Non-Emergency Medical Transport. I'm actually hoping to sell, so I can just be in the board. I don't want to be able to do a lot of stuff anymore, because I'm also, let me say, partially sick because of my back. So as a result of that, I'm hoping to sell the two businesses and just be on a part-time basis. I would like to be an investor. I've invested in several other firms. The one that they do on Shark Tank. Okay. So I've invested in their platform, but I'm hoping to be an investor. But as for today, I'm just trying to listen to see how this goes. I don't have anybody investing in my businesses. I'm just funding it myself. But at the same time, it has gotten to the stage where I just want to kind of give them up and just use my brain. Physically, I'm not able to do a lot anymore, but mentally, I can still do a lot. I'm originally a family nurse practitioner. I've been a nurse over 30 years. So I very much understand the whole medical field. Everything they've been talking about all day, I can, I know a lot of all of them. But at the same time, I want to do it the smart way. So I'm here to learn and also to be part of the community.
Welcome to our community. Great to have you. Please keep coming back. We're mostly a Wednesday event. The Saturday events were sort of a carve out for life sciences. But what I've learned is that people are busy on the weekends, and even though they sign up, they don't necessarily show up. And of course, being a free event, there's no cost to not showing up and just registering. So our percentage of people who attend on Saturdays is a lot smaller than Wednesdays. So I have a feeling you'll see a lot more of us on Wednesdays and less weekend events based on the trend that we're seeing. Justin, did you have something else you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, just briefly, something that's informed my entire life experience as an entrepreneur, as a healthcare trial lawyer, before I ditched that to do this, Equality MD, was serving as a history teacher for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in England at the Royal Hospital School. And I taught 71 boys in a boarding house and lived with them. And somehow I didn't kill them all and they didn't kill me. So that's a good thing. But I learned more from them than they ever could have taught me. And that lesson of being a student of life has informed everything I've done. And so when I've been filling out applications for accelerators and funds, I got tired one day of doing, oh, I've done this, I've had this education. I just wrote the following: I have the mind of a philosopher, the heart of a poet, and the spirit of a starship captain. And all that I do, curiosity remains my true North Star. I'm blessed to have a very good network, and I'm happy to help anybody here to pursue their dreams like I'm doing now. Thank you.
That's nice. And I totally agree. As long as you're a student, you're alive. When you stop being a student, your brain dies. That's my opinion. My father is 89, about to turn 90 in a month, and he is a student. He's learning things that I don't even know about, and because of that, it keeps him alive. So I agree with everything you just said, Justin. It's always great to have you in our community. Thank you. Up next is Jatan. I'm not sure I pronounced that right, but welcome to our community.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Mark, for inviting me. My name is Jatan Noel, and I am a motivational speaker. I'm also an entrepreneur and a mentor. And this is my first time at the pitch event. And I must say, I am very impressed with all of the presentations I was witnessing today. So again, wonderful job, everyone. And thank you for inviting me, Mark.
My pleasure, and please come back. I mean, you can see how many smart people we're attracting. I mean, if you know, the founders of today can solve breast cancers, mental illness, all kinds of, ailments. It's amazing to me that we can get so many smart people to show up together as we do every week. So this is just fun to me. Up next is Sudha.
Hi, thank you, Mark. Hi, everybody. Great presentations from the founders. I'm a healthcare fanatic. I've been working in the clinical trial space, both in the hospital and the pharma side. And I recently started out as an angel investor. I've been coming to the venture startup group events for the past 3 weeks, and I really love it. So I will be connecting with a few of you, but feel free to please connect with me because I'm in the startup ecosystem. I've connected with a lot of VCs, so I'm happy to help anybody and refer anybody. That's one of the favorite things I like to do.
Awesome. What a great valued community member you are. We appreciate that. Up next is Christina.
Hello, everybody. I'm so impressed, Mark. This is my first attendee here, and I saw so amazing pitches. And exactly as you said, I mean, we could solve so many issues, huge issues for this world. And I for sure welcome for other attendees and meetings. And so after being a serial entrepreneur and studying human nature combined with business, and also being a medical doctor as a profession, I became fully engaged in coaching founders, especially tech founders, and also advising them to become successful and at a unicorn status. Why? I mean, many times we know the percentages of startups that are succeeding, and many times it's because it's just so hard to be successful. The last statistics from Techstars, for example, is that for all of the startups they invest in, 2% will be okay, not unicorns, but enough revenue generating for them to just be reasonable to invest in them. So, and this is not because your idea is not okay and you couldn't become a unicorn. It's because there are so many unexpected issues and also soft skills that you need to have, and also business issues that you need to handle on a daily basis that many times your mental health suffers. And so what is my mission is to be that secret weapon behind those amazing founders who truly deserve to win the game, even if they don't have everything they need the money, the connections, but they do have the idea, they have the quality of the human person that truly needs to create a connection or a great product that connects us from today to the future and solves a big issue. And I am that kind of coach and mentor who wants to have the right type of founders to succeed. And happy to be here. Yeah.
Thanks, Christina. I hope to see more of you. We need more mentors and people who are connectors. Up next, Frederick. Good to have you as always.
Mark, I wanted to share with the group a statement made to me personally just before Christmas in 1976 by the CEO of a major international company in a meeting of the MIT Sloan Fellows. When he learned I was in the healthcare field, he said to me, "The problem with the American people is they want to die healthy." If anyone is interested in finding out who that CEO was, contact me, because the punchline is even better than his statement.
That was good. Thank you. All right. Those are the kind of comments I would love to see more of coming into our events. Great. Wisdom and humor. Up next, Olga.
Hi, everyone. This is my first time with this group, and thanks, Mark, for inviting me. I'm patent attorney, scientist turned patent attorney. I've been doing patent law for past 20 years, focusing exclusively in life sciences, both medical devices and molecules, big and small molecules. I work with large pharma companies when they invest in small companies. I work with small companies, helping them to strengthen their portfolios. And I work with investors when they look into their targets. So if anyone has IP questions, and specifically in the patent law, but broader than patent law, trade secrets, anything like that, I'll be happy to assist. That's
very nice. I know our community can benefit from somebody with your wisdom. That's an absolute certainty. So please and also, just so you know, some of our founders that attend Wednesday events tend to be a little bit more in need of IP protection advice. I find that the healthcare industry people are a lot more sophisticated. Whoops, let me get rid of whatever the background noise is. Okay, George, you're the next to give us a little pitch.
Hello.
Hi, George.
Thank you, Mark. I'm a regular attendee here. I'm very impressed to have woken up here today at 1 a.m. in Nairobi, Kenya, to attend this wonderful program. Of course, I'm a bit sleepy. So great meeting people here. I connect investors with startups globally, and it's always a very interesting moment for me. I actually integrate coaching skills from the business dimension and education. And this has given me a great room to just find ways within which we can also highlight some of those background issues that hinder, startups, especially in terms of pitches that investors sometimes may find challenging. So anyone in the chat, of course, I've shared my information. Feel free to connect with me so that we can have more discussion. And once again, congratulations, Mark. We are looking forward to having your team and our team now set up a funding platform for venture starters. Thank you.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you, George. I am, as I mentioned earlier, I think the next evolution of venture starters is to have its own fund. And that doesn't need to be the fund that I'm running, but it needs to be a fund that is ran by professionals who know how to run funds, because I want it to be licensed and I want to do it 100% professionally. And so if any of you have ideas or connections, I am interviewing people right now to try and figure out the best way to leverage this amazing large community that we have built literally all together. I believe our upcoming Wednesday event this Wednesday might turn out to be our largest attendees in-person event that we've ever done based on early registration. I'm continuing to invest in this community. I'm hoping that you all are finding value in it. It's, you know, currently free for everybody to come and free to pitch. I'm the only sole funder of it at the moment, but I do need to find some methods to offset some of the expenses so that the community is viable long term. And we may be bringing in a sponsor shortly that I'm negotiating with that'll help us with covering some of our expenses and allowing us to continue to advertise to grow bigger and bigger. For those of you that don't know much about me, since I still have we have a relatively large audience still here, just want you to know that the secret to my raising money and getting startups successful is surrounding them with the people who know the right people. If the startups know the right people, they can easily raise money. They're not pitching total strangers. They're pitching friends. And if you have exhausted your family and friends networks, all of the founders in your company, in your startup, and you are at a point where you have to pitch total strangers, which is the make or break of your company, it makes more sense to me that you add somebody to your team, either part-time or full-time, or just an arm's length arrangement, who has a family and friends network that they can bring to the table so that you can have warm introductions. This event is designed to create warm introductions for people who don't know how to, or don't have exhausted all of their connections and are in need of finding new people who have those connections to link up with. I have multiple ways that I do it that don't involve community events. I'm happy to talk to you about the ways that I've raised money, even in third world countries where they're the riskiest type of places to, you know, invest in. I've been able to do this through a method that has worked for me. I'm happy to share that with you if you'd like to get on my calendar, and I can, you know, give a quick analysis of what you're doing and give you at least a suggestion as to how you can improve your odds and accelerate your company by simply recruiting the right people to your team and making magic happen in those ways. So you can go to the Venture Starters website at the bottom. My calendar for December is back up. I took it down for a couple of weeks, but it's back up. To everybody that are investors that are here, I really would love it if you take, you know, a close look at Phythera, which I recently joined the board of. It's an opportunity to possibly have a huge impact on cancer. I'm really excited about the company. And, you know, now that I'm involved, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and try and help out. And I would appreciate it if any of you who care about solving cancer, you know, would also like to get involved. Please reach out to me directly, or Igor, who may or may not still be in the room. It's hard for me to see everybody when we have so many people in attendance, but I'm really very, very passionate about this particular company and like to see it succeed. Thank you to everybody for staying for so long on a Saturday and spending your Saturday with me. Oh my God, every time I do this event and you all show up, my mind literally blows. It's like crazy to see how this community has evolved the way that it's evolved. I'm in love with our community and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. I predict that next year we're going to have major successes, and there's going to be a number of companies that are part of this community who are going to find exactly what they need, and we're going to help put our positive fingerprints on the planet Earth by essentially being a community that actually makes some things happen. So thanks again. Please keep coming back to events. Our next 3 events are Wednesday nights only, and on January 21st, which is a Wednesday, that'll be the last event of the year. I'm proposing that we have a holiday party atmosphere, sort of our holiday, to, you know, irregardless of what you celebrate. If you can wear a silly hat, at least for one small portion of the event, it would be appreciated so we can create a festive environment. You don't have to wear a hat. This is just my silly ideas. But, you know, I'd like to get everybody to be feeling a little bit more festive. If anybody would like to suggest other ways that we can make the event a little bit more festive, I would love it. So it has a little more of a party feel and a little bit less of a staged event. I'm always open to your suggestions of how to improve the community and how to build this. I've never built a community before. It's my very first time. So this is a learning curve experience for me and for my assistants. I want to thank my assistants who, without their help, I couldn't have made this possible. And there's a number of you who've been extremely helpful in building the community, not just Luke, but there's a number of you guys and women who have been instrumental in reaching out to other people they know and inviting them to our community events. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing everything that you do to make our community so vibrant and so strong, and amazing people who come and pitch us every week. I absolutely love and adore this event. So have a great weekend. See you on Wednesday. Hopefully some of you or all of you. Thank you again. It's been wonderful. I always love these events. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you, Mark.
Hi, everybody. You can get a copy of the chat, I believe, by doing something in the chat, which I don't remember exactly what it is, but if you want to get that copy of the chat, grab it quick, because I'm going to have to disconnect us all here in just a moment.
Lower left hand, lower right hand corner, 3 dots. Click on the 3 dots. It'll say Safe Chat.
That's right.
Perfect. Thank you for all your help. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Take care. Bye-bye.